My father had gone to at the bar where her mother was working and caught her cheating on him. The thought that obviously her mother probably has no idea who any of her children belong to.
It's not my fault you guys don't want to know me.
It's not my fault that your dad had sex with my mother and I'm a product of that.
Hang on to your seats, folks, because Mr. Brown has just stormed into the courtroom like a hurricane, ready to declare with unwavering conviction that he is the undeniable father of little Gyra Jameson. The atmosphere is electric, tensions soaring higher than ever.
Always believed you were the biological father of the defendant's daughter, Gyra Lever. You have loved her and taken care of her, but now the defendant is denying you are Gyra's dad. You are hoping today's results prove your case. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Lever, you say you are positive the plaintiff is not your daughter's biological father and plan to prove it in court today. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
The court buzzes with whispers as Mr. Brown makes his bold entrance. His eyes, filled with a mixture of hope and defiance, scan the room for any sign of doubt. "I am Gyra's father," he asserts, his voice echoing through the hushed courtroom.
Fed her, bathed her, clothed her, taken her to her doctor's appointments. I mean, when Mom couldn't be there, I was there. And although she cheated, I know for a fact that Gyra is my daughter. She looks like all of my children.
And Ms. Lever, you say even though he loves your little girl, he is not her biological father?
Yes, Your Honor.
But Ms. Lever is ready to fight back. With a scoff, she throws a look that could shatter glass. Mr. Brown was nowhere to be seen when Gyra needed a father, she states, her tone icy and sharp. The crowd murmurs in anticipation of the drama unfolding.
Also, my ex was also dealing with the same crisis. And so during that time, we bonded and we kind of rekindled things, and that's the time in which Gyra was conceived.
April 2011, you were dealing with a sick family member.
Yes, ma'am.
And the next part of this exhibit says July 2011, what was going on?
My ex and I, we were intimate at the hospital during that time.
At the hospital?
Your Honor, I've been there in spirit, and I've sent support from day one, Mr. Brown exclaims, his frustration mounting. He recounts tales of secret gifts and unacknowledged birthday cards, painting a picture of a man trying to connect with a daughter kept just out of reach.
To pop fireworks with my nieces and nephews. Miss Lever and I were sitting out on the back watching them. One thing led to another. We ended up on the inside of the house by the back door on the floor. This was July 4th of 2011.
And you remember that specifically?
Yes, ma'am. She does too.
And Miss Lever?
Yes, ma'am. That did
you
his
say,
father.
But Ms. Lever says she was having sex with her ex inside the hospital.
Ms. Lever shakes her head, disbelief written all over her face. Spirit doesn't change diapers or dry tears at night, she retorts. The courtroom's tension thickens, the audience glued to every word of this heart-wrenching dispute.
You said you object?
Yes, ma'am. This is a mess, but he is not her father, and I told him that from day one. This has been a mess, and I told Mr. Brown that he was not her father because, this is my ex, And when I end up getting pregnant, I felt like it was my right to tell him so that he can move forward.
The plot thickens, a surprise comes forward. Gyra's birth certificate, which has some crucial information. Mr. Brown might not be the saint he claims to be, she whispers into the microphone. Her words a sizzling fuse in the powder keg of the courtroom.
Gyra and my relationship.
Are you on Genesis' birth certificate listed as father?
No.
I thought I was on Gyra, so I don't even know.
He ain't on neither one of them.
Do you have a copy of
Yes,
Genesis'
ma'am.
birth certificate?
I'm not putting him on her. He can't financially do nothing for her. So what am I putting his name on there for?
And so wait a minute. As I look at this birth certificate, Genesis, Summer, Lyric, Brown, Lever.
And Gyra's supposed to be the opposite.
That's what you want.
Mr. Brown stands firm, unshaken. He says he may not be perfect, but his love is true, and his feelings are genuine. His voice breaks with emotion. Everyone starts to feel really bad for him. The judge looks on, the weight of the moment palpable in her expression.
And she's screaming for you to leave.
You know when she screams for me to leave, Your Honor? When I'm not working.
You ain't never working.
Your Honor.
So
when
who
I'm
works
not
in this family?
Nobody. She don't work. She ain't never worked.
I get state assistance. At the end of the day,
No.
you are the man and you
At the
living in
end
my
of the
house
day-
and you need to work or leave.
Just as the audience thinks they've seen it all, the DNA results are brought in with a solemn procession. These results will change everything, the judge announces, her voice steady, but charged with the gravity of the impending revelation.
You're going to lose your standing.
He's a
She won't answer your
liar.
call.
He's a liar. there.
Listen, there is a valid point to what he's saying. However, if it is determined today that these are his biological children, then he can go back to your home state, petition so he can be added to the birth certificate as the father, and then you would have legal rights to see these children.
The envelope is opened. The moment of truth. Mr. Brown holds his breath, his future with his daughter hanging by a thread. Ms. Lever watches, her face a mask of stoic fear. In the case of Jaira, the judge begins, her voice echoing off the walls.
Mr. Brown, you are the father. That's your little girl. Now, with respect to Jaira, Ms. Lever, you say he is not the biological father. Mr. Brown, you say you are.
Ms. Lever's cold demeanor finally cracks when the judge asks, "How will this verdict affect your family?" Tears well up in her eyes as she looks towards Jaira, who sits quietly, unaware of the life-altering words about to be spoken.
Mr. Brown, you are not the father. This is overwhelming. Ms. Lever, what is it you're feeling in this moment?
My daughter has a bond with him. She loves him. They love him. But this is just not healthy, you know?
The courtroom buzzes with anticipation as Ms. Holshoe steps up, her voice trembling with emotion. She asserts that Mr. Howard, despite the denials, is undoubtedly her father. The Howard sisters watch with scorn, disbelief etched across their faces.
Ms. Holshoe, you claim your mother had an affair with the defendant's father, and today you're in court to prove that he is your biological father. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Ms. Howard, you and your sisters say Ms. Holshoe is a delusional troublemaker whose promiscuous mother destroyed your family and ruined your home.
Ms. Howard interjects, her words sharp as knives, declaring Ms. Holshoe a destroyer of homes. The audience gasps as she recounts the tales of a promiscuous past that supposedly led to her family's ruin.
After I found out that he was my father, and the only reason I'm even wanting to know that he is my father is because I've recently learned that I have terminal cancer, and I'd like to have family history, and I also, which I know they don't want to, but I would also like to have some sort of information from them about him.
When did you first find out?
Ms. Holshoe fights back tears, explaining how her mother's relationship with Mr. Howard was no secret to her, revealed through whispers and an obituary listing her as his daughter. The tension in the room rises as the judge looks on, pondering the gravity of familial bonds and secrets.
One time when I was 19 years old, my dad, he was in from California. My parents were already divorced. We were in from California. He had us all meet him out at an old country bar. We showed up, and her mother was there. And I'm talking,
You're saying that person?
Yes.
Okay.
They were there, and after about a half hour, we had some drinks and stuff, and my dad
I don't even remember that.
Suddenly, Ms. Howard drops a bombshell. She knew about the whole situation, but chose not to believe this allegation. And the source was her own husband. The courtroom falls silent, the weight of her revelation hanging heavy in the air.
Why don't you believe it?
I don't want to speak ill, but I mean, my dad he's dead. Her mother has passed away. It's obvious my dad messed around on my mom. It wasn't just her mother.
Exactly.
It was never just
I
her
agree
mother.
with that one.
And I have heard many things that saying the same thing about her mother.
Okay, so what you're saying is he said that, but you felt like you had information that suggested her mother.
Kelly, another Howard sister, takes the stand, her voice hesitant. She shares a memory of a rare family gathering, a secret meeting that might just prove Ms. Holshoe's claims. The plot thickens as suspicions deepen.
Mr. Howard were childhood sweethearts. Okay, my mother didn't have me until she was 20 days before she turned 21, and she was married to the same man all that time.
So what you're saying is your mom married very young.
Yes.
But she and Mr. Howard, the deceased, their father,
Yes.
they were still in a relationship because they were childhood sweethearts.
They were in and out of a relationship.
Accusations fly as the Howard sisters challenge Kelly's account. They argue, voices raised, that their father would never acknowledge someone so controversial, not publicly. The family drama unfolds like a Shakespearean tragedy.
She just needs a family, Your Honor, because her whole family, she's shut out. They've shut her out because she's such a devil.
Tell me about that moment when you were informed or your father told you.
Well, we were out one day, and I was about 19, and he said that he wanted me to meet
One of his girlfriends. Okay, I had met several of them before.
Thought you said you're 17.
No big deal.
The judge calls for order, her voice stern. She questions the validity of the obituary and the alleged family secrets. Every eye in the courtroom is fixed on the unfolding drama, wondering if these pieces fit into a larger, untold story.
That's up to her what she does.
I still speak with Kelly on a daily basis, as I do with my other sisters.
Right.
I just am tired of hearing about this.
Your Honor, Mr. Howard invited me to a Howard family reunion.
Lies.
That is a
Lies.
total lie.
It was at
Lies.
Guilford Lake.
That is a total lie.
Because you know where it was
Pavilion.
doesn't mean you were
There was
invited.
never a family reunion at
Just
Guilford
because
Lake.
you
It
thought
was not at
that.
Guilford Lake.
Ms. Holshoe speaks of a childhood filled with whispers and sideways glances, her voice breaking as she recounts her isolated upbringing shadowed by stigma. The Howard sisters shake their heads, their expressions a mix of disbelief and anger.
Your Honor, I hope that it's true that he is my father, but if he's not,
That'd be happy days.
they both lied to me, him and my mother.
I don't
lied
think
to
that
Did they
lied
teach
to
you well?
They don't know. They don't know. They don't do DNA with their eyeballs.
Do you all want to get these results?
Yes,
There.
Yes.
Yes.
You all want to sit down?
Yes. Finally, finally, finally.
As the judge prepares to deliver the verdict, the air thick with anticipation, everyone holds their breath. This decision might just rewrite a family's history or validate a lifetime of whispered doubts.
That the probability of half-siblingship between Diana Howard and Misty Lynn Holshoe is 98.1%.
Sorry. Doesn't make any difference.
She knows, Your Honor, but it doesn't make a difference to
I'm glad
us.
she knows too.
The courtroom's tense silence breaks as Ms. Reeves steps up, her eyes locked on Mr. Silva. She's here to prove that Mr. Silva is indeed the father of her 7-month-old son, Legend. The stakes are high, and the atmosphere is charged with anticipation.
Ms. Reeves, you are here today to prove that the defendant, Mr. Silva, is the biological father of your 7-month-old son, Legend. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Silva, you were involved in a paternity case on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta in support of your sister, who took a DNA test to prove paternity of her child. You now stand here in court with your own case.
Mr. Silva stands defiant, denying all claims of paternity. He argues, his voice loud and firm, claiming there's no way he could be the father. The crowd murmurs, hanging on every word as the drama unfolds.
So you believe he's projecting his unfaithfulness onto you?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you doing that, Mr. Silva? Do you have any
Your
reason
Honor.
to believe Ms. Reeves has not been faithful? You basically said in so many words that you believe it's okay for men to go outside of the relationship to cheat, but not okay for women to do the same.
Yes, Your Honor.
You aren't the only
Right.
man that feels like that.
As the judge calls for order, Ms. Reeves recounts their turbulent relationship. She's tearful, her voice breaking as she describes how the constant doubt has eroded their bond. Mr. Silva listens, his face a mask of stoicism.
I have to hide when every single time I turn around, it's another female texting my phone like, oh, I was just dating I was just dating your boyfriend. Your boyfriend is my boyfriend. That's our boyfriend. Like, what you mean?
Wait,
that's
what?
my boyfriend.
Our boyfriend?
Our boyfriend. The fact that you can allow another female to talk to me in that way. You know what I'm saying? And I asked him about it over and over and over and over again. What are you talking about? You're delusional.
The tension ratchets as Ms. Reeves reveals messages from Mr. Silva that contradict his public denials. The evidence is damning. The courtroom buzzes. Is this the proof that will tip the scales? Will it reveal the truth about this whole situation?
On her Snapchat, she's turning up, getting lit, with men, drinking, smoking. So how do you expect me to believe that you've been gone for 3-4 weeks, then come back to me telling me you're pregnant?
And how pregnant did she say she was when she told you?
I mean, I'm not
I was
exactly-
like 3 months pregnant when I found out.
So in your mind, regardless of what you were doing for that month that you all were broken up,
Mr. Silva retorts, his rebuttal sharp. He accuses Ms. Reeves of deceit, insisting his actions were justified. The judge watches closely, the weight of the decision looming large over the courtroom. The courtroom is fixated on this back and forth.
protection for her, you go ahead and execute the birth certificate without really understanding the legal ramifications of that.
Yes, Your Honor. It was my first child, my first rodeo. I didn't understand how to.
And there was nobody from your family with you.
Nobody. I was there. I flew out of Florida, come to Alabama just for the birth.
But now Legend is 7 months old
And I've been there
since day one.
since day one.
More details keep coming out about the relationship between the two. and it is very obvious they were not a good match in the first place. Mr. Silva's allies defend his reputation, but the air is thick with doubt. Who is really lying here about the cheating?
You know, if she was out there doing whatever, then I'm out here doing whatever. And so I'm not no dummy. You're not gonna play me. You know what I mean?
Well, you played me first. You started the whole thing. If it wasn't for you cheating, if it wasn't for you talking to different people, we wouldn't even be here right now. None of this stuff would even happen. I just feel a little hurt, you know what I mean? Because, like, we have a beautiful baby together. And I don't want him to grow up feeling like, oh, my daddy didn't even think that I was his.
The pivotal moment arrives as the DNA results are presented. The judge opens the envelope. The room falls deathly silent, awaiting the verdict that will change lives forever. The result has the possibility to change everything about these people.
Mr. Silva, you are the father. You are the father.
That's all I needed to know, Your Honor. Now, I'm sorry, and you know, I did have my doubt with Legend, but I know that he's my son, and I would truly, fully love him. And I want us to move on in our relationship.
Mr. Silva, you are the father. The judge's voice echoes through the courtroom. Ms. Reeves breaks down in tears, a mix of relief and sorrow, while Mr. Silva stands stunned, his previous certainty shattered.
If you don't change the way you operate, Mr. Silva, you are going to continue to negatively affect this woman's spirit, which ultimately negatively affects your child's well-being. But Ms. Reeves, you have a choice as well. You do not have to tolerate a man continuously cheating on you. And there's a saying that you teach people how to treat you.
All eyes on Mr. Butterfield as he strides into the courtroom, confidence wavering as he faces Ms. Bracknell and her new life with Mr. Dallas. Is he the father or just a ghost from the past trying to stir trouble?
To paternity court to prove that you are the father of her 2-month-old daughter, Cara. You say she's denying you are Cara's dad because she's worried her family will be torn apart when the results prove you are the father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Bracknell, you say there's no way Mr. Butterfield is your child's father. The only reason why he's doing this is to break up the family you now have with your fiance.
Tension mounts as Mr. Butterfield recounts their past love, their shared home, and the mysterious parting gift Ms. Bracknell left him, a child. The courtroom gasps at the revelation, each person hanging on to his every word.
Make me out to be the jerk, whatever. I'm here today.
This now?
You don't want to be here.
So, Ms. Bracknell, you were previously in a relationship with Mr. Butterfield.
Yes, Your Honor.
Then you went back in a relationship with Mr. Dallas.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And you have 3 other children together.
Yes, we do.
Now, when you left Mr. Butterfield and went back to Mr. Dallas, you were pregnant at that time.
Ms. Bracknell's defense strikes back, denying all allegations. She claims Mr. Butterfield is delusional, trying to shatter her stable family life with Mr. Dallas. The plot thickens with every accusation tossed across the courtroom floor.
Yes, Your Honor. She hid this for me 8 months. Hid my daughter from me for 8 months. And wasn't there for her to be born. Yeah, some other guy got to cut her umbilical cord. Yeah, that's fine.
Mr. Dallas stands, stoic, but visibly shaken. He's prepared to fight for his family, ready to protect the life he's built. He doesn't just believe. He knows Cara isn't Mr. Butterfield's daughter, and he is willing to do anything to prove this.
So you're saying if we count back, there's no way Mr. Butterfield is Cara's biological father?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Butterfield, you look at this calendar. Is this accurate? Is this when the relationship ended and when she went back to Mr. Dallas?
No, Your Honor, it's not.
It's not?
No.
What do you remember?
Up until October 8th, the last time we had sex, because I remember. I can take a lie detector test if you want to prove it.
Mr. Butterfield challenges their denials, fueled by desperation and a haunting feeling of connection to the child he believes is his. He pleads his case, voice-breaking, a man torn by the weight of potential fatherhood.
I love her the same. She's my little daughter. She's going to be my little daughter. I'm going to raise her my life.
She is not your daughter.
I'll raise her.
Nothing's going to be changed.
Nothing's going to change. I love her to death, just like I do now. Before today, I'll love her the same. You know what? With this.
But I hear you named her after what? Your grandma, and she's got your last name? That'll change very soon.
No, it won't.
Oh, no, it won't.
Cara Christine Dallas is what it's going to stick with.
No, it won't.
Watch.
Because I'm coming.
Because it's my daughter.
The judge reads the results. Silence befalls the courtroom. In the case of Butterfield versus Bracknell, Mr. Butterfield, you are the father. The words echo, a thunderous wave crashing over all doubts. The court is suddenly full of gasps at his result.
Cara's biological father is Mr. Butterfield.
What did I tell you?
It's fake.
What did I tell you?
It's fake. You ain't getting her.
What?
It's all right. We'll take another one.
Truce out.
So you were correct, Mr. Butter.
I just want to see her.
You ain't.
The courtroom reacts. Some cheer, others whisper in shock. Mr. Dallas, stone-faced and defeated, consoles a distraught Ms. Bracknell. The judge offers words of wisdom about healing and co-parenting. As the gavel hits, the case closes, but the story of their fractured yet hopeful family continues.
Honestly,
It would have.
It would have. I'm a Christian woman. I'm not like that. Not gonna do that. Laugh all you want.
No. Now this man is over here in tears because he missed everything that he so desperately wanted to be there for. He's not going to just let this die. He's going to go back to your home state and at least petition the court so that he can